Hey, good morning, everyone. I'd like to talk to you a little bit about love and the word love and the meaning behind it, which has a huge misconception many times. And it's something that science certainly can't explain, so it avoids it at all costs. And just like many other words, love, words like God, words like trauma, they tend to in our society, in our culture, they tend to be utilized so much they become catchphrases. And when I say utilized so much, utilized as an interpretation thrown around carelessly, and of course this makes it lose its meaning. And that's what happens. The word love, the word God, the word trauma, and I'm sure several other words um, have kind of lost their true meaning. People throw them around carelessly, and they don't understand the power within these words. Therefore, the words themselves become uh, impotent, essentially. But let's talk about love for a moment and why it's important to understand the meaning of it rather than the just utilizing the word itself. Like the word itself has power, and if you explore it yourself, if you even ask yourself, what is love, and what does it mean to love myself, what does it mean to have love for life and have love for others, you might notice there's a bit of confusion when you're even asking yourself what that means. And that just kind of reiterates or reinforces the examples that I was just describing of how these words actually lose their meaning. Sometimes they can actually be even more detrimental than we might even understand or give it credit for. I've had several clients over the years that have come to me, and they have essentially complained of a series of things going on in their lives, their feelings and their behaviors, which were not helpful to them, and they couldn't explain why. And when we dialed it back enough, we could see that they were going through some kind of mental training, whether it was working with a psychologist, or maybe even a hypnotist, or somebody that um, you know was using some kind of mental approach with them, working with their mind. And somewhere along the line, the hypnotist or the coach or the psychologist hinted to them to love themselves more. Just, hey, you just need to love yourself more, right? And they did it out of heart. They did it authentically, the best of their ability, but without realizing that the word love, uh, the implications behind it aren't necessarily what they may have assumed. So, whenever this person suggested to someone else, another person, that they love themselves more, their brain does a scan check. And your brain does this all the time through its predictive powers, its predictive ability. Your brain will actually scan and determine, what does love mean to me? What has been around the most that was linked to the word love? Whenever somebody says love yourself more, your brain will instantly scan all your past history looking for its definition of love. And the problem is, when we're born into this world, every newborn infant and child accepts from their parents whatever's given without any kind of question or judgment or analysis. They accept whatever's given. So if distance and criticism is given by the parent to the child, which is such a common theme in our society today, but the word love is thrown around carelessly, if there's abuse, if there's alcohol, if there's substance abuse, if there's neglect, and the word gets thrown around, the word love gets thrown around in that, the brain quickly learns to associate distance and criticism with love. It associates abuse, physical, emotional abuse, with the word love. This becomes the working definition of love. And so what happens with these clients that I was referring to a moment ago is whenever somebody said, love yourself more, well, the brain's definition of love is self-sabotage, criticism, judgment. And of course, that shows up in their behaviors very quickly. And again, this is just merely a consequence of the word love losing its meaning and becoming kind of a catchphrase today that's essentially hollow. So let's change that. Here's what we can do. When we think of the word love, let's begin to associate it with a new meaning. This is where the word becomes very powerful again. And that meaning is, I welcome you in my presence. Being welcomed in the presence of somebody else, a parent, a caregiver, divine, maybe peers. Being welcomed and having that connection is vital for health. It's actually been shown that loneliness is detrimental to the health. So the first thing we want to associate with love is being welcomed in the presence. Okay, I welcome you in my presence. That's the first meaning. The second meaning is, I only see the best in you. This automatically means that it's not conditional. This means that the love is there regardless of mistakes and flaws and shortcomings and everything else. There is no focus on that. It's only focusing on the best. Okay? So, welcoming you in my presence, only seeing the best in you. And then the third thing is to be filled with joy to have you in the presence. So in other words, it'd be like, I'm filled with joy to have you in my presence. And whenever we, and use this however you need to, whether it's the eyes of a caregiver, whether it's the eyes of divine, whether it's the eyes of yourself. If you're learning to re-love yourself again, which is vitally important today. In fact, that's what we're going through in our break and free sessions is, as a group, we're relearning how to love ourselves again, because of the things I just implied, the words losing its meaning and yet still get thrown around, and these, what results is this is a large population that are essentially love starved, and it didn't start with you. We are a population of love starved people having children, and of course passing on the love starvation to them. You can't possibly give to anyone what you yourself don't have. So that's the reason for this. The first thing you want to remember to associate love with is welcoming presence. So I welcome you in my presence. I only see the best in you, period. And I'm filled with joy to have you in my presence. And whenever a child or an adult with a child within them, because that's really what we are, can sit and let those new meanings be associated with their brain. Let their brain start to link those definitions to the word love. It takes on an entirely different meaning whenever we tell ourselves we love ourselves, or we tell someone else we love them, and so on and so forth. But utilize this how you need to, okay? Incorporating these three meanings into the word love. And that way, whenever you start to tell your kids, or you tell yourself, or you tell your spouse or family members that you love them, it has a real, true, warm feeling and meaning behind it. It's not just this empty word that continues to get thrown around. And it's very powerful when you start telling yourself that you love yourself with those three parameters, with those three definitions associated with it. Whenever a person starts to love themselves, they feel welcomed in their own presence. They only see the best in themselves, and they are filled with joy to be with themselves. That literally changes the whole makeup of the biochemical reactions going on within the body. It changes the shape of the molecules. The neuropeptides themselves begin to express themselves in different ways. So in other words, there's a whole bunch of good things happening on the biochemistry level within your body when you can develop that love for yourself. But the word love needs to have specific parameters and meaning behind it for it actually to have that powerful shift. So I hope this helps. I'll have more for you coming up, and continue to practice loving yourself with those three definitions in mind. So until the next time, friends, practice loving yourself more and more and more. Uh, that essentially is one of the biggest things we can do to help ourselves solve the problems that we are experiencing in our life.